Buenos días, señoras y señores. Bienvenidos otra vez a la clase de español. Hoy tenemos que hablar del presente progresivo en español que se forma usando estar y el gerundio. Esto es una forma que usamos para hablar de lo que está pasando ahora, de lo que está pasando ahora mismo y está en progreso. Welcome. Today, the beginning of chapter 5, we are speaking about the present progressive. The present progressive is a form that we use to talk about what is happening right now. It's a form that we also have in English. As you can see what I'm currently saying, I am teaching. Notice that when we say I am teaching, in English, we're using the verb to be. That's the I am, right? So I am, you are, he is, we are, etc. We use a form of the verb to be, and then we use the ing form of the verb, which is also known as the gerund. In Spanish, we call the gerund el gerundio. Now in English, we're going to use this form for two purposes. We're going to use it at times to discuss what is happening right now. For instance, as I'm saying, I am teaching right now. We're also going to use the present progressive in English to talk about the future. As in, if you say to me, what are you doing this weekend? I may say, I am dancing in a river dancing competition. In Spanish, it's slightly different. In Spanish, we only use the present progressive to discuss what is happening right now. We never use the present progressive to talk about the future. Instead, for that, we use what we saw at the end of chapter 4, which was the use of ir a plus the infinitive. Okay, so in Spanish, the present progressive is only used to talk about what is happening right now. What is happening and is in progress. As in, I am teaching, we are dancing, she is swimming. What things that are happening right now. So, as we see here once again, as I've been saying, I am teaching. We're using the verb to be, and then to it we're adding the gerund, which in English is this ing ending. Let's take a look at how we do it in Spanish. If you notice here in Spanish, I've written up the way that we do it. Okay? In Spanish, we're going to use the verb estar, which we also saw in last chapter. Remember, it's irregular. It conjugates as estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. Okay, we're going to use estar, and then we're going to add a gerund to it. Just like we did in English with the I am teaching. It's to be plus a gerund, to be plus a gerund. It's very important though that you're using estar and not ser. The present progressive is formed using estar. Here's an example. Estoy bailando. So we should be able to do already this estar part. However, we need to know how to form the gerund. So here's how the gerund is formed in Spanish. With an AR verb, such as bailar, to dance, we're going to take off the AR, as we often do when we're conjugating, leaving us with a root or stem of B-A-I-L, bail. And to that we're going to add the ending ando, leaving us with this verb or this word bailando. So bailando would be our gerund for bailar. For comer, we'll do the same thing. We'll take off the ER, leaving us with the root or the stem of com, and to that we will add the ending yendo, I-E-N-D-O, comiendo. Same thing for IR verbs. We're going to take off our IR, leaving us with a root or a stem of sal, to which we will add yendo. Remember, these are verbs, so they do not have gender. They don't change. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it's always bailando, comiendo, saliendo. This does not change to bailanda, for example. Okay, so simply a conjugated form of estar plus a gerund. To form the gerund, we cut off the ending and add for AR verbs ando or for ER and IR verbs yendo. There are a couple of irregulars that you'll want to pay attention to. In some cases, these are merely stem changing verbs, which we'll see in a moment. Okay, so for now, pay special attention to the ones that I'm telling you. There are more than this, but for now, we'll worry about these ones. So pedir, you would expect to be pidiendo, but instead it's going to be pidiendo, with an I here instead of an E. Decir, same thing, will become diciendo instead of diciendo. Servir will become sirviendo instead of serviendo. And in dormir, which means to sleep, the O will become a U. So we have durmiendo. Okay? So those are some irregulars. There's also a couple of spelling changes we have to be careful of. For these ER and IR verbs, whose ending in the gerund would be yendo, if an ER or IR verb has a stem that ends in a vowel, meaning we've cut the ending off, and the stem ends in a vowel, such as leer, would have the root or stem of le. If we just add the normal ending of yendo, it becomes a bit too much of a mouthful for us to say. And so it's annoying to say leyendo, leyendo, or in the verb traer, whose root or stem would be tra. It's annoying to say trayendo. So in cases like that, so ER and IR verbs whose root or stem ends in a vowel, the E is going to change to a Y. And so we will say leyendo or trayendo instead of leyendo or trayendo. Okay? The most important thing to remember with present progressive, and the most common error I see, is that people remember well the gerund, they remember how to form it oftentimes, but they forget the fact that this is a compound verb. And as such, it's really important that we use the estar and the gerund. This is not a complete verb unless it has these two elements to it. So we need both the estar and the gerund, as we see here. Estoy bailando, I am dancing. So, best of luck. Do some practice on this. Check out the PowerPoint. Do the quiz. Y mucha suerte. Adiós.